In this video, let's look at the part B of Mathematics 1 paper of GCE Ordinary Level Examination 2019. The instruction is to answer all questions on this question paper itself. Question number 1, 7/15 of the total length of a drain was dug on the first day and 1/4 of the remaining length was dug on the second day. So note that 1/4 of the remaining length, right? And question number 1 is, at the end of the first day, what fraction of the total length of the drain remained to be dug? So we know that 7/15 of the total is dug on the first day. So what's remaining is 1 minus 7/15. So basically you can, even without doing any simplification here, you can say the answer is, because 7/15 is done, 7/15 is done, then 8 portion of the 15 is remaining. So that's the way you calculate it. But if I just show the right way of doing it, 1 minus 7/15, you can simplify this way. You can write the same thing as 1/1 minus 7/15. Then use the least common multiple of both 1 and 15. 1 and 15, least common multiple is 15, right? So 15, you see 15, you have to divide it by this number. It's 15, and then multiply it by this number. So that results in 15. Then minus, you bring this here. Then you 15, you divide by this 15. That's 1. And then you multiply that value by this number. So 1 times 7 is 7. So what's the value of 15 minus 7? It's 8, right? 8/15. That's how you do fractional calculations. So I'll just move on to the other question. Okay, question number 2 states, what fraction of the total length of the drain was dug on the second day? So this is where the second part comes in. It says 1/4 of the remaining length was dug on the second day. So it's 1/4 of remaining length. Remaining length is 8/15, right? So that's the fraction. So then this off value is normally written in mathematics as multiplication. It's like this. So then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So then 2/15 was dug on the second day. That's how you derive that. Then it says the third question, at the end of the first 2 days, a further length of 600 meters of the total length of the drain remained to be dug. Find the total length. So now we know the first day 7/15 is dug. Second day we just derived 2/15 is dug. So by the end of the second day, what's the fraction being dug out? 9/15, right? So that you can write it down here. So what's remaining then? So 1 minus 9/15, right? So that is 6/15 is remaining. Now to calculate the length, what they are saying is, look at this particular thing. Length of 600 meters of the total length of the drain remain to be dug. So that corresponds to this particular fraction. So then what does that mean? 6/15 corresponds to 600 meters. So then we need to find what corresponds to 1. So we write this as 6/15 over 600 times 1 in a fractional way. So this division you can convert it to multiplication and then use the reciprocal of this, right? 15/6. Then 600 divided by 6 is 100. 100 times 15 is 1500 or 1500 meters. So 1500 meters is the answer for this question. So you had to write that how you strategically came into this answer. You had to write that here. So I'm not going to show that writing down here. So just what I showed in the other page is what you should write here, right? The fourth one asks it has been estimated that 4 men will require 3 days to dig the remaining 600 meters of the drain. Okay, so how many more men need to be engaged to dig this length in 2 days? Okay, so the question is how many more men need. Okay, now these are like person day type of questions. So to approach this kind of questions, what we need to think is 600 meters will require 4 men and 3 days means we need to write this in man days or person days. 4 men times 3 days. So this 600 meters will require 12 person days, right? Is that's what it means. So to do this work you need 12% days. Now what they are asking is for this same work to be done by to be completed by 2 days, then how many people you need? Still you need 12% days. That won't change. So that means you need 6 persons to do, right? So because to create 12% days of work in 2 days you need 6 men or 6 persons. So that means they already have 4 people. So how many additional people you need? So that's also something to note. How many more men needed to be engaged to dig this length in 2 days? So how many more you need? 2 more persons is what the answer is. Let's discuss the second question. So before we discuss the second question, remember that for the part B, each question carries 10 marks and you have 10 questions there, 5 questions, so you get total of 50 questions, and then part A carries another 50, so total you will get 100 questions. So normally you need to estimate around 10 minutes per question. Try to allocate 10 minutes per question, and if you can do a question in less than 10 minutes, that's great, because you can use the remaining minutes to solve a little complex problems later on. So just 10 minutes is the right value, but don't think about those time when you are writing the exam. But if you feel you are stuck, just move on to other questions and then come back to those questions later on. Okay, this question says a sheet consists of a portion of ABCD in the shape of a trapezium and a semicircular portion with a diameter DC as shown in figure. Take the value of pi as 22/7. Right. So first part question is, it has been decided to attach small buttons along the edge of the semicircular portion starting from D and ending at C, such that the distance between every 2 adjacent buttons is 2 centimeters. How many buttons are required for this? It's a tricky question and a good question actually. So if you just think about a straight line which is 6 centimeters and you want to attach buttons every 2 centimeters, so you start a button here, in 2 centimeters you put another button here, in another 2 centimeters you put another button here, this is 2, this is 2, and you have another 2, right? Another 2 centimeters you put another button here. So 6 divided by 2, 6 is the total length and 2 is the interval. You divide that by 2, you get the value 3, but you need one more addition of that value, so 3. So if you just add 1 to that, that's the amount of buttons that you need. So we can apply the same principle here. So we need to find the circumference of the semicircle. So we know the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. So the semicircle is half of that. So that is, we just cut these two values. Pi is 22/7 and the radius is this value. So we have been given the diameter 14 and the radius is then 7. So 14 divided by 7. So we just cut this value to two values, then you get 22 as the circumference of the semicircle. So then applying the same principle here, you divide this 22 by the interval 2. So then that means you have 11 gaps. So then that means you need 12 buttons needed. We write that way. Okay, calculate the area of the sheet. Okay, so area of the sheet means you have to calculate the area of the semicircle and the trapezium as well. So let's first calculate the area of the trapezium. So trapezium, we can divide the trapezium into two by just drawing a perpendicular line here, which will make a rectangle here and a triangle here. So the rectangle's area is pretty simple. You just have to multiply the height by the width or the breadth, 10 times 14, which is 140 square centimeters. This is the area of the rectangular portion. Area of the triangular portion you calculate by half multiplied by the base. Now this value, how do you calculate? We know this entire AB distance is 16 and this will be 14. Why is that 14? Because we know this is a rectangle, so this value will be equal to this. So that means this is 2. So 2 times height, this value also we know it's 10, this value, right? So that means we just chop those two values off, that's 10. And then we have to calculate the area of the semicircle. Semicircle we can calculate. I'll just move that to the next page here. Half of 5r square. Pi r square is the area of a circle. So then we have to multiply half, then pi value we know 22 over 7. R we know it's 7 here, 7 times 7. So then we just chop these two values off, then it's 11. 11 times 7 is 77 square centimeter is the area of the semicircle. So that's the value here. So then we have to add 77 to 140 because we have to add the area of the rectangle and the area of the triangle. So if you just add these three values, you get 227 square centimeters. Last part. If a rectangular sheet is made with its area equal to the area of the semicircular portion. Semicircular portion, we know the semicircular portion's area is 77. So they want to make a rectangle that has the same area as the semicircle. So the rectangle's area should be 77 then. 77 square centimeters. And its length is equal to the length of AD. AD, we know it's 10, right? So then 10 times and find the breadth. Let's take the breadth as x. So 10 times x should be 77 square centimeters. Then what should be the value of x? 77 divided by 10, which is 7.7 centimeters. Pretty simple. Let's move on to the next question. Third question. Kumara runs a business within an urban council limits. The assessed annual value of his business place is 40,000 rupees. The urban council charges annual rates of 22%. Okay. Then the first question is find the amount that has to be paid annually as rates. Pretty simple, right? This is a percentage question, so you just have to multiply 40,000 by 22%. So 22% you can write 40,000 22 over 100. So then we can chop these values off. 400 times 22, how do we calculate? So 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 4 is 8. So then another 8 here. It's 8,800 rupees he has to pay annually as rates, right? So the second question states how much does he have to pay as rates for a quarter? Okay, a year has 4 quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3 and quarter 4. So if you're paying this amount per quarter, so then you have to divide this value by 4, right? So that is rupees 2,200. Simple. Part B. So there's a table given with annual income. Initial 500,000 is tax free. Next 500,000 is 4%. Next 500,000 is 8%. Kumara pays 12,000 rupees as income tax for a year. Based on the above table, what is his annual income? So if he is paying 12,000 rupees means he is definitely earning more than 500,000 per year. So that value is included. So we have to keep that in mind. 500,000 we have to definitely add. So what is the tax he would pay if he is actually earning 1 million? That means for the second 500,000 he has to pay 4%. So what is that value? uh, yeah, 4% of 500,000, right? 500,000, 4% is, if you just, this 5,000 times 4 is 20,000, right? 5,000 times 4 is 20,000. So the tax for the second 500,000 is 20,000. So but he's paying actually less than that. So that means he is not earning the second 500,000 full, right? So to find that value, what we have to say is, okay, we have to find that values as x and then tax it at 4%, and this value should be 12,000. This is how you calculate that. So then what should that value be? So to find that, you have to take this value the other side. So to take it other side, we have to do this. So divide 12,000 by 4 is 3,000. 3,000 by 100 is 300,000. So is actually for the second tier, or the second table, second column, is actually earning 3,000. 300,000. So if we add that to this 500,000, his total earning for the year is 800,000. Right? Pretty simple logic, and it just took less than 4 minutes. And if you're just writing it in your real exam, you should answer this question in 2 minutes. Let's move on to the fourth question then. Fourth question: the following incomplete frequency distribution and corresponding incomplete histogram. Now this is a histogram. Now this thing is a histogram, have been prepared using the marks obtained in a test by 40 students in a class. Here 10 to 20 denotes the marks interval greater than 10 and less than or equal to 20. Okay, and the other interval denote similarly. Okay, so the first question is complete the above frequency table and histogram. Okay, the frequency table 10 to 20, 10 to 20 here is 6 denoted here. But this one 20 to 40, now the interval here is 10, but the interval here is 20. 20 to 40, what's the value? So we cannot just take this as 4 here because it's not of the same width. Now the bars are not of the same width. Now to find that value, what we can do is, now if you look at this area of this, now this is 10, height is 6, so that the area is 60, right? So this should correspond to the area. The areas are what we need to consider here. But to solve these problems, we can even think it in terms of width of 10. Now what is the area here then? So area here, this area is 20 times 4, which is 80. 20 times 4, 80. So that is when you represent that as a width of 20, right? The area is 80, right? Then what if you yeah, the height is 4, the width is 20. Like if you consider the width as 20, the height is 4, so 20 times 4 is 80. But if you make this width 10, to make the same area, what should be the height? It should be 8, right? So then the value here should be 8, right? So the next one, 40 to 50, is pretty easy because that's of the same length. It's 7, so you just write 7 here. 50 to 80 is given as so I'm just gonna delete this. 50 to 80 is given, that is 30, gap is 30. For 30 gap, it's given as 15. So 30 times yeah, so this is when you represent this by 10, right? So 10 times 15 is 150. So 150, if you represent that by gaps of 30, the height should be 5 then, right? So then you have to just draw the height as 5 here, like this. Okay, so then the other one is also pretty easy. 80 to 90 is just the width is 10, so then we can write it as 4 here. Okay, so let me just delete this here and just draw this properly. With should be 5, right? So we calculate it as 5. in this form. So this is the completed histogram. So just draw it properly in your paper using a ruler or something. Right. Second part, express the number of students who obtain more than 40 marks as the percentage of the total number. Now we know, now these are marks, right? So these people, these two rows indicate students who took 10 to 20 and 20 to 40. So any students who have taken more than 40 is represented with these three columns. So how many students are there? 7 and 15, 22 and 4, 26. So overall 26 students have taken more than 40 marks and the total is 40. Now they're asking the percentage of those students who have taken more than 40 marks. So we just have to do this times 100. What's the value? So if you just divide this, 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. 2.5 times 26, right? So let me just calculate that. Just make it right. You can use your rough work pages. 2.6 times 5. 26 times 2.5. So how do you multiply these? Now these are, I don't know which grade 7, 8, 9 type of questions like multiplication. So 5 times 6 is 30, 3 over 3, you bring it here. 5 times 2 is 10, 10 and 3 is 13, right? So then you go to the other line. 2 times 6 is 12 and you need to write it here. You take 1 over 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 and 1 is 5. So then you add up. 3 and 2 is 5 and 6 and you have one decimal place. You just put the decimal place here. So 65% have taken 65%. This value is 65% have taken more than 40 marks is what it means. So next question, draw the frequency polygon on the histogram. So you draw the frequency polygon by joining the middle of all the bars. So for this one here, the middle is here, right? So you just draw the middle here. I'm just going to draw it here. And for this one, actually there are two bars here. So I'm just going to draw that bar here. So one middle is here, the other middle is here. The middle of this one is here. It's over here. So I'm not drawing it in there because it's a bit difficult to draw in this sheet that I am using. So we have three bars here. One middle is here, one other middle is here, other middle is here, other middle is here. And you have to complete the histogram by finding the other middles of the external. So it's one middle here, other middle here. So and then you have to join those. So let's try to join from here to here, then here, then here. Then you take it up here, then you bring it here, then you draw it up to here, here, and then you bring it down up to here. So it has to be straight lines. So this is the frequency polygon. Question just took less than 7 minutes for us. Let's move on to the last question, the fifth question. Let's approach the last and final question. So it looks like a probability question. Like when you just look at the figure itself, you should know this is a probability question, and that's how you approach a question, right? So you just look at that and you say, okay, this is a probability question, and that's an indication that you have learned and you have done your homework, right? So question is, it is given that the first two symbols of a certain password are two different digits. So we know passwords are everywhere now, right? So you must be using a Google account, YouTube account, Facebook account, and so forth. Everything has a password, and it's somewhat related to that, right? So first two digits of a password, first two symbols of the password is a digit. So passwords can be a character, digits, and different other special characters as well. So but here in this case, it's two digits. We know that for a fact. So that's what it means, right? Two different digits from digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 1, things like that. To choose the first digit of the password, a student randomly picks a card from 5 identical cards, on each of which one of these on each of which one of these digits is written. Then without replacing it, he randomly picks another card to choose the second digit. So that means if you just pick one, you can't choose one again. So then it's not, password is not as 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 5 5. That's not possible. It could be 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5, things like that. Using the symbol cross, mark the sample space of the two digits on the cards that the student randomly picks on the given grade. So this particularly means that once you take one card out, you can't take the same card again, right? So that means you can't have 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 and 5 5, right? Anything other than that is possible. So except that, you have to mark the remaining ones. So you can mark it here, 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 mark here, here, here. I'll just complete that. So except the blue ones over here, and then finally you have to delete those blue ones because we don't have that. So this is the answer for the first part. Pretty simple, right? So that's how you approach the question. You need to know, like, think out of the box. If you take one card out, the second card can be the same thing. So that means you can't mark those equal values over there, right? Then the question number 2 says, it was later discovered that the first digit which was obtained for the password was odd. Okay, now this is the first digit, right? So they are saying it is odd. So that means it could be 1, 3, or 5, not 2 or 4, right? So those 3 columns will represent our first digit for the password, right? For the password was odd, and that this digit was less than the second digit. Okay, so that means if you have selected 1, the second digit could be 3, and second digit could be in fact anything, right? Because the first digit is 1 means the other digit could be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So all of this will match. See, all of this will match, and yeah, all of that will match. And let's say if the first card was 3, because it's an odd number, it's either 1, 3, or 5. If it's 3, the other number could be more than that. So they are saying it should be more than that. Second digits is higher than, it says odd, and that this digit is less than the second digit. That means second digit is higher than the first digit. So this should be 3 4 and 3 5. There's no 6, so it should be these two, right? Right. The last one is 5. So if the first digit is 5, it's definitely not going to be right, because all the other digits are less than that, right? 2, 3, 4. So that is not part of our space here. So it says indicate the event that satisfies these conditions on the sample space. Okay, I have already indicated here with these two boxes, and obtain its probability. So it's easy. You have 6 out of how many? How many total crosses you find here? 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 10 there. Here again you have 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So out of 6, 6 out of 20. So that is 3 out of 10. So this question has a part B. Let's approach the part B now. Next, part B of question number 5. Let's read it carefully. It looks like a tree diagram related question. During a period when a certain disease was spreading, 20 males and 16 females who display the symptoms of this disease arrived to obtain medication from a physician. So this is quite a coincidence, because this paper was released on 2019, and COVID-19 was discovered somewhere in 2020. It was discovered in China before that, but 2020 it was prevalent, right? So someone just guessed it here. Okay. So although all females actually had the disease, so they are saying all 16 females had the disease, right? The probability of a person picked at random from among the males actually having the disease was 0.6. a portion of a tree diagram drawn to indicate the probabilities of a person picked at random from all these people being a male or a female and being a person having the disease or not having. It is shown below. Complete the tree diagram by indicating all the relevant probabilities. So this is when you select a person, that person being a male is pretty simple, like it's 20 out of total is 20 and 16 36, right? If you just simplify that, you can write it as 10 over 20, 10 over 18. Even if you 5 over 9, you can write it as 5 over 9, right? So I'll just keep it as here 5 over 9, right? So this part is female 16 over 36. So if you divide by 4, it's 9 over 4, right? So this is same. So that's the probability there. Then out of males, if you just try to figure out the people who are having diseases, disease, no disease, right? Having disease is 0.6, and this should be then 0.4. Females, there is no point drawing here because the question states that all females have the disease. Okay, that's all. So this completes the diagram. You can if you optionally want, you can draw it like this and say 1 disease, have disease, no diseases, 0. So because if you just add the two arms of the tree, it should add up to 1. Okay, that's optional though. You can draw it or just leave it. Right, then the second part of the question says, so the complete the diagram, so that part is done. The second part is find the probability of a person picked at random being a person having the disease. So this part as well as this part. So you have to go here to here. So let me draw that in red for you to be clear. Being here and here, here and here. So those two arms you need to multiply and add up. 5 over 9 times 0.6 plus 4 over 9 times 1, because that's for sure. So then if we just I'll use the rough work page here, right? So this says 9 over 4, 0.6 times 5 over 9. So we can use 9 as our least common multiple, then 5 times 0.6 plus 4. 5 times 0.6 is 6 times 5 is 30, right? So that is then, because of that decimal point, that becomes 3. So its value is 7 over 9. So the answer is 7 over 9. So this concludes the part B of mathematics paper 1. So we also discussed part 1 in a separate video. So this two videos conclude the entire part 1, and I will see you in part 2 or mathematics 2 paper, and let's discuss there. I hope you found this video to be very useful. Thank you very much, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications for you to get more videos like this related to the theories as well as revisions. I'm planning to do more of this type of videos, and also tell about this particular video to your friends and share with your family members who are doing O levels next time. That will be that can become helpful for them. Thank you very much.